The worst possible thing that can happen.
Ang 9 p.m. higher round. Monica pa Syria. Syria.
Auntie.
Because we let Just not anymore. Ang IR kay Syria.
Auntie ko, 36. Pag-adj ko dyan ako. Sila kasabot sa mga.
Right. Welcome guys back to the round. Thank you for that very interesting, very lively, very dynamic debate. So, given that we really enjoyed it, that's why I felt it took us time to reread our notes. Given that there were a lot of contentions with regards to the rankings. So, we already have a decision. So, I'm Albert. I was your chair for this round. With me were Aisha and Lizel. So, Lizel, we were your judges for this round. So, I'll go straight to the decision, and then I'll give the standards, and then I'll give the justifications to how we made the decision. So let's go. So the decision was a consensus. So the decision goes. It was a closing house win with 3 going to closing government, 2 going to closing opposition, 1 going to opening opposition, and the last piece going to opening government. So we used 3 standards to adjudicate this round. The first is depth of analysis, and it's also linked to goal fulfillment. So the reason why these are interlinked, because while we saw that there were many substantives that were well analyzed, we had to ask the question, up to what point will that analysis be then in the round, especially if there was a common goal that you guys wanted to talk about, which was not explicitly conceded, but implicitly discussed, which was like, what if the movement dies because of some form of hijacking and some form of harassment from the people that they disagree with? So that was one of the main point of contentions, wherein we had to be able to resolve how to come up with the rankings. Because that was the most material discussion with regards to how then will the movement then move forward. So the third standard we used was responsiveness, which was a very important standard as to how we would determine how to break the major deadlocks and contentions that happened in the round. So let's go to why it was a closing win over opening win. So let's first discuss how did opening house discuss the debate. So we noticed that there were a lot of principles and a lot of discussion of how dynamics inside movements work. Like opening government talked about, we need to have social order, mobility, cohesion, and this can only happen without a leader and without a figurehead, because people are able to own the movement and are able to have a democratic view on how things should go. Opening opposition entered by saying that, well, when you have a leader, it projects strong leadership and it projects a rallying point for people to be able to enter a movement and for people to have an engagement point. But at the same time, when things go awful, we will have to we can pin accountability to a person at the end of the day. So why was this a closing win? We felt that while many of the premises came from opening house, I felt like the material manifestations of how it created an impact towards the goal of the movement and the goals that you guys provided, which was what will happen if the movement will die or will suffer some form of heart attack because they were being harassed by people from the outside. And I felt like this was where closing government did a stellar job into explaining on how when you don't have a figurehead, it's very easy for you to be very flexible, to be very omnipotent, because you don't deal with the biases that people have, you don't deal with the short attention span, you don't deal with political disassociation, and there are continuous stories that continuously move, even if one story or one bad apple enters inside the market. And I felt like this is where we were able to bite the sustainability goal of the debate, which is how do we sustain movements after it dies out or after something bad has happened. And I felt like when CO entered into the round, this is where we felt like was a very strong contentious ranking with OO and CO, was while we do agree that there were a lot of shared things coming from OO, I think CO was a lot clearer to demonstrating why those ideas of strong leadership, having a rallying point, engagement point, and accountability are important with forwarding the movement's goals. Particularly having a donor or having a lot of people donate. And I think that solidified the idea of how the person is able to manifest all of the ideas of a person. I felt like that was a crucial link into being able to materialize why that strong leadership is important. But moreover, I felt like when they talked about the idea of having a leader, they were able to talk about the idea of how diversity is also possible under their side. So if you notice, while the initial premises came from the opening debate, the material manifestation of how the movement can thrive and survive only came from the latter parts of the round, which was also the initial goals that you guys wanted to present. So let's go on why it was opening opposition versus opening government. We appreciated a lot of the arguments coming from opening government because it talked about how movements need to be democratic and need to be also ominous and omnipotent in the process for it to be democratic. But the reason why we felt like opening opposition had to take it over you guys was first on the depth of analysis, because we felt like with regards to the idea of strong leadership and rallying point, they were able to solidify these points by at least giving some examples and some mechanization on how these important principles then can make a movement recruit people and move at some point. Compared to your side, where we were not sure how social order, mobility, and cohesion created this semblance of unity within our organization, or how they would deal in the worst case scenario, which was highlighted by both opening opposition and closing opposition. But moreover, we felt like opening opposition's responses to your many cases were strong, particularly when they talked about, social order is not still going to die anyway, because when you have a leader, there's a structured idea of how we go through with things, and at the same time, and how we deal with people who malign our organization, we always have a leader to push to. So I felt like after those initial responses from leader of opposition and also succeeding reinforcements from deputy leader of opposition, I felt like Deputy Prime Minister and the succeeding speakers of government had to at least reinforce why their idea of social cohesion, social order, mobility were still important ideas and how it can have a material manifestation debate. It was not really materialized. So we felt like we had to give it to opening opposition. So now let's talk why it was a closing government over a closing opposition win. With regards to closing government, closing opposition, there was a member of the panel who felt like it was a bit, it was not that contentious, but malapit na, ganon. So, but the reason why closing government had to win over you guys was because when closing government talked about the idea of sustainability, while we did agree there were strong responses from closing opposition, talk about the idea of how diversity can still exist in your movement, how multiple stories can exist under your side. I think closing government's holistic point and formidable point of the idea of how we are able to persuade people and get the message across wasn't fully destroyed. And that was important in the round because you guys implicitly conceded, and also other teams conceded, that the message is important, and whoever is saying that message is also an important feature inside the movement to get the message across. And I felt like there was no sufficient response or any substantive as to how you're able to supplement or have an alternative to the many alternatives that they were able to present. That when a movement dies, people can still continuously tell the story because there's no one to blame on at the end of the day. So in conclusion, that's how we adjudicated the round. And if you have comments or questions, you can approach us, and you can also approach the panel because they have also opinions on how you guys went through the round.